Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Info Hazard. As you can see, we are without David. He's sick. He's fallen down a well, and we tried to help him, but didn't have enough rope. So we're brainstorming here today on ways to get him back. That doesn't make any sense either.
Doesn't have to make sense.
We're off to a good start. Anyways, he's fallen ill, and I guess he's taken his vacation a little early as a result. So it's just Danny and I holding down the fort today, bringing you piping hot news and hot takes. Last week, Trump was threatening to execute Democratic representatives. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what it seemed like, for sure. I remember when this would be like a political scandal instead of just like another Tuesday, you know?
Yeah, and I think you could append that statement to basically every news item we have listed here, but I feel it pretty strongly on this one. A group of Democratic veterans, armed forces veterans, and lawmakers, were they congresspeople? Is that right?
Yeah, representatives and senators too, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, they sent a video out to the armed services reminding them that they have the constitutional right to disobey unlawful orders, which is true. They do have that. And Trump responded to this in a measured way by saying, seditious behavior punishable by death, and hang them. George Washington would. I think that's a retruth, that last one. But yeah, it's a little scary.
Why would he be upset about this if he doesn't want to issue unlawful orders, right?
I don't know. His court record, I guess, would suggest that he's kind of a fan of unlawful orders, so maybe he saw this as a direct attack. It would
kind of says a lot,
punishable by death. Seditious behavior punishable by death. I can't personally, blame the guy. I've been known to fly off the handle a little bit and accuse certain people of treason, and remind people that that is a crime punishable by death. I'm not going to say who, but
that's good.
We all have our emotional moments, is all I'm saying.
Imagine if we had a president who was too emotional, dude. That's why we can't elect a woman in this country, right? They would just get angry and threaten to kill people just for, no reason at all, basically.
They call it manopause, sort of the emotional changes an old boy goes through in his later years. Maybe he's going through manopause. The Coast Guard briefly reclassified swastikas and nooses as not hate symbols in their code of conduct. They downgraded them or upgraded them, depending on how you want to look at it, to potentially divisive. A swastika is potentially divisive.
Surely they were just thinking of the many Hindu naval members, right? Our Coast Guard members.
Yeah.
And the nooses were surely for people who follow the Norse religion and worship Odin, since he was hanged.
Yeah, that's right. They didn't specify which way the swastika was flipped and if it was at an angle, so it could have been just a Google Maps icon for Buddhist temple.
It's the beginning of a maze.
Yeah, it's potentially divisive. And you know what? True to their prophecy of it being potentially divisive, people were pretty divided about this, or rather, okay, wait, what's a better way of putting this? Fucking pissed.
Everyone should have agreed that they were bad. There should have been no division.
Yeah, no, there was a pretty resounding, fuck this that came from the public, and the Coast Guard pretty much immediately backed down. I think it was within the day that this news was reported and then reversed.
Well, good for the U.S. public, dude. Sometimes they surprise me with not being terrible. Good work.
This seems worrying, but it's just the Coast Guard doing their job. They're guarding the coast. They're testing the waters. They put it out there. They're testing the waters to see if swastikas are okay. They just like the aesthetics, those Hugo Boss uniforms. They really pop.
They saw the Nazi salute on stage at, from high-profile Republican donors, and they assumed swastikas were next, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. He was saying his heart goes out.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. It goes out. Yeah, sure. Oh, man. Remember when he threw a Sig Heil? That was crazy. Yeah.
10,000 scandals ago. Who remembers, dude?
I don't know, man. It's because of stuff like this. Policy that's just laser targeted to piss people off. Who do we value in this country? That's a question that's up for debate, I suppose. But according to the Department of Education, we don't think nurses are professionals anymore. That's right. Nursing has been excluded as a professional degree according to the Department of Education.
So they're going to be amateurs now?
I guess that we're taking it back to the 19th century. You just claim you're a nurse or a doctor and then whammo, start pulling teeth and cutting hair. So yeah, under Trump's new bill, only professional degree students are eligible for the higher loan limit of $200,000, while graduate students are capped at $100K. Excluding nursing by definition as a professional degree effectively prices aspiring nurses out of their studies.
That's good. We've got way too many nurses, right? It's not like hospitals are scrambling for nurses and they have way too high of patient ratios or anything.
Actually, on that note, I have a quote here. We are short tens of thousands of nurses and advanced practice nurses already. This is going to stop nurses from going to school to be teachers for other nurses. Oh shit, I don't have an attribution for that quote. I said it.
I'm sure you comes from deep knowledge on the subject.
Whatever. Dock me for plagiarism. Go check out this independent article.
According to your article, it was from Dr. Jennifer Mensick Kennedy, president of the American Nursing Association.
Okay, thank you. Right. So you might think, well, it sounds like they have it out for nurses. Not so. They're not discriminating. They have it out for a lot of people, including physician's assistants, physical therapists, educators, like teachers, no longer professionals, apparently, social workers, audiologists, architects, no longer professionals, accountants, no longer professionals. That one's the craziest one to me. Like, if I had to think of a generic job, like the most boring business ass job, like accountant would be probably just alphabetically would be the first one that pops to my mind. And accountants are no longer considered professionals by the Department of Education. That's, I don't know.
Well, so is this like ideological, or is it just like a cost saving measure? You know, they just like don't want to give out these loans anymore, and so they're, you know, cutting off a lot of people.
¿Por qué no los dos? There were some programs that were spared from this cost savings measure, like people who might potentially be aligned with the Make America Healthy Again movement, like chiropractic or chiropractors. I refuse to say it in the stupid way they insist on it. They are chiropractors. They're not chiropractic. Those are still considered professional. Also, theologians, that's still considered professional. So, you know, we're not cutting any money for those like big religious schools.
Knows where his bread is buttered electorally.
And then the rest of these, I have no beef with. Medicine, pharmacy, law, dentistry, osteopathic medicine, optometry, podiatry, veterinary, like all good stuff. But like pretty bullshit that teachers are no longer professionals and nurses and, you know, everyone else, accountants. I keep having to repeat them because it's each one of those is crazy to me. Again, it's just lost in the royal
of nonsense
what is
that is our government these days.
Oh man, I put down all of these. Do you know anything about this next news item I have here? Do you want to help me mix it up? Do you think this next one qualifies as a scandal?
It should qualify as a scandal. I don't actually know anything about this. I didn't even see anything about this, dude.
Okay, yeah, so
you got to brief me.
Some Defense Department contractors accidentally invaded Mexico.
Oops.
Wars have been started over less. I mean, I'm reminded of the recent war between Thailand and Cambodia, where some defense forces on either side. It's not exactly clear what happened there, but basically someone's patrol went over the border and they had a disagreement about where the border was, and then shots were fired. Is basically what happened. That very same thing could have happened between us and Mexico. Defense contractors drove their boats up to a beach, put signs on Mexican soil saying, "Warning, restricted area by order of the commander, prohibiting unauthorized access." So yeah, they like claimed a bunch of Mexican land close to the border as American soil and then rode off in boats. And then heavily armed Mexican soldiers came by later and took the signs down and, you know, called the Americans like, "Hey, did you just try to steal a beachhead?" Turns out it was just a misunderstanding. They read their map wrong. They misread where the border was. they thought they were in Texas.
That's okay. It's not like we need the military to have good maps.
And I don't know. No excuse. Don't they have like a friggin' Google Maps?
GPS?
MapQuest? They could go home and print it out and bring it in their car? Yeah. Anyways, we're not at war with Mexico yet.
That's good. I don't want to be at war with Mexico. The new Ukraine peace plan put forward by the U.S. came out this past week, in which Ukraine is basically going to give up the land that Russia wants, and they're going to reduce their military, and they won't have any outside peacekeepers to help them keep the territory they get to keep, and also it will end all sanctions on Russia. So, basically, Russia gets everything they want. Ukraine can suck it. Doesn't exactly seem like a masterpiece of foreign policy to me. What do you think?
This is very consistent with the peace president here. Peace through submission, basically taking the aggressor's side in every conflict and giving them everything they want. That you could call that peace. It would technically be peace, the war would stop. I don't know where that gets us if we're rewarding every aggressor in every conflict with all of their stated strategic goals. So,
like that famous ancient saying where they gave up like little bitches and called it peace.
That's right. Probably not going to be accepted by Ukraine. Like Zelensky said something along the lines of they're at a turning point between accepting this peace and losing the war or losing one of their longest allies, i.e. us. Basically saying like, we're not going to accept the peace that is proposed by the United States, but we're sorry to see the United States go as an ally.
At least we weren't like bound by a treaty to defend them because they gave up nuclear weapons or anything. Imagine how shameful that would be to give up in that sort of situation.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be the second one to breach that particular treaty,
and not as bad as Russia. Yeah, at least we didn't actually invade them.
You're right. Yeah. So yeah, the EU has signaled that they're going to try to be picking up the slack on the American side, basically drawing that strategic partnership a little closer and, maybe keeping our chair warm when we decide to be leaders on the global stage again. Who knows? Or maybe just taking up the mantle of what America could have been if we decided to fight for freedom. I don't know. This isn't really my beat. We need David here to heartily wave the banner of West Wing era patriotism. I feel like this is bad for Ukraine, though. I would definitely not take this deal were I your Ukrainian politician.
I mean, this is the kind of deal you would take if you've already lost the war, right? Because otherwise you may as well have just not fought at all. Could have just given up, back when the invasion started.
This is like the kind of deal you take after Kiev falls. This is like, all right, we retake the capital and then you get these other territories. Like they're basically just, all right, taking the status quo and then the war's off, theoretically. But not really, right? Russia has already shown that they're willing to invade, take a bunch of land, wait some time, and then go back. This doesn't stop at this peace.
It's like that famous quote about the Treaty of Versailles. It's not a peace treaty, it's a ceasefire for 20 years or whatever.
Yeah, 20 years would be pretty good. I don't know. I think how long was it between the invasion of Crimea and then the second invasion? It's 5 years, 7 years, 10 years?
Yeah, I don't know. Closer to 10, I think, but I
between
guess
5 and 10.
Yeah, it's been a while. Time drags on. I'm sure that is not the end of news in Ukraine, one way or another. Even if they say yes, that would be news, which I don't think they'll say yes. They shouldn't say yes. The U.S. should never have proposed it. I'm ashamed that our government did.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of shameful things that our government has done, on our next one, there is a woman named Marimar Martinez. Surely everyone remembers her because the Department of Homeland Security described her as a domestic terrorist who ambushed a Border Patrol vehicle on Chicago streets and rammed the Border Patrol car and shot at them. But it turns out...
that sounds crazy.
Right? Imagine if that happened. It turns out it didn't happen.
I can't believe that happened. Well, it didn't happen. I have no need to believe it happened.
Yeah. Well, it sort of happened. It happened the other way, where the Border Patrol rammed her car and shot her, and They got caught lying about it. They released text messages came out where it seemed like the Border Patrol agent was bragging about shooting her. And when they pressed him in court on this, the Department of Justice just said he's a firearms instructor who is taking pride in his shooting skills for, shooting this innocent woman. And so
how does that defend? Like, you can't, like, I guess they didn't want to perjure themselves, is basically, which is like, that's just amateur hour shit. Like, don't they know that they're police officers? Perjuring themselves is like the main thing they do.
I don't think we need to go that far. But of the more than 24 people who've been arrested for impeding or assaulting federal officers in the Chicago area during this so-called crackdown, none of them have gone to trial, and charges have been dropped against at least 9 of them. So this is kind of a pattern with ICE where they just, lie about stuff and arrest people, and it turns out they're arresting innocent people. So this guy hasn't even been, punished or fired. They clearly know that he's lying about this, and he, shot an innocent woman 5 times and rammed her car. Why hasn't this guy been fired and possibly criminally charged yet, is what I want to know.
Just a point of order here. Like, how exactly how grim is this firearms instructor being here? Like, Martinez, is she alive?
She's alive, yeah. She survived.
Okay, so she shot with pepper balls or something, right? Like,
no, I think she was actually shot with bullets.
With bullets?
With bullets.
And he's like, got her? That's fucked up.
Well, so technically what he was bragging about was he shot her 5 times, but she had 7 holes. I guess so it's 2 of them were through and throughs. I don't know how to analyze this exactly, but
that's dark as hell. Why'd you? That's not even a marksmanship thing. That's more like a range thing. That is grim.
Yeah. So this is the kind of thing that this guy does this. They don't punish that. It's it kind of undermines their whole mission, even if you believe in the let's scoop up lots of immigrants and deport them. If they're just
God, I wish we didn't
shooting innocent people and lying about it.
Man, I wish we didn't have a fucking Waffen SS. Holy shit, would it be great to not have a fucking military arm of the Nazi party roaming around. Boy, that would be awesome. It would be really cool if they were less in number.
0 in number. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
But apparently this is the only way we can enforce immigration. You can't, punish people who employ illegal immigrants or anything like that. No, just terrorizing people on the street. Innocent and guilty alike. It's very bad. How do any ICE supporters in the comments want to justify not punishing this guy? I'd love to hear how you can defend that.
Oh, God. Man, this has been a fucking grim week. And I have a goofy story.
That's okay. That's what we need on Grim Weeks is a little goofiness. Goof it up here for us. Our viewers and listeners crave the goofiness.
Man, I hate all of that shit. But you know what I like? I like Zoran Mamdani. That's a cool guy. You know who else likes Zoran Mamdani?
Donald Trump.
Apparently. Donald Trump, apparently. Is a big fan. After calling for the deportation of the now mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani, Mamdani reached out to Trump, and they had a little meeting at the White House, which went well, it seemed, right? They were getting along famously.
When he met with Obama back in, 2016 or 2017 or whatever, right at the beginning of his term, or right around then.
That is a good point, and I think there's a lesson to be learned here. There's 2 pretty important takeaways from this meeting. One is that just Trump likes winners. He's pretty good at calling out a winner in a crowd. That's why he's so mean to so many of his staffers, I think. And,
they are losers.
And 2, we can't count on super charismatic figures coming in and stealing the day, but it would be nice. It would be nice. I think the first thing that was working in his favor, Trump was quoted as saying that Mamdani is very nice for calling him.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there's anyone Trump hates as much as he loves people sucking up to him, right? There's no one he would be unwilling to forgive if they are flattering him and calling him up and trying to get his attention and approval.
And people forget, the dude is 79 years old. There's nothing more in the world he wants than just the young people to call him. Just wants a phone call. Call your grandma.
Dude, Mom Donnie is younger than us, dude. If our life had gone differently, we could be mayors of New York City. So the one moment from this interview that I saw something about, a reporter asked Mom Donnie if he still thought Trump was a fascist, and Trump patted him on the arm and said, "It's okay, you can say yes. It makes it easier."
Going out of his way to be deferential and kind of like making himself. When does Trump ever make himself the butt of the joke? Like, ever. You don't, like, you need that fucking heart of the sun megawatt smile to make Trump, of all people, go out of their way to make a joke at his own expense to cover for you. That's nuts. Like, Mondani has the juice, dude. He's got that mega charisma that you just can't buy.
Otherwise, Elon Musk would have bought it, dude.
Do you think it's necessary or just like a huge advantage to have that mega charisma?
It's a huge advantage. It could be necessary depending on who you're like running against. Running against Trump without being very charismatic, I think, is a huge negative.
God, I wish we learned that sooner. It got me thinking, if it's this important, maybe we should be scouting out people for their charisma rather than their political acumen, and then we work backwards on the political stuff. You know, I was curious who the most charismatic person in the United States was, and I went to the most reliable source of this I could think of, which was IMDb.
Interesting. It kind of seems like a very narrow focus, right? It's just going to be like movie stars.
It's not, actually. For some reason, they included political figures too, and not just Americans. So yeah, I have linked in our sources with the actual 101 most charismatic celebrities born after 1899. What a weird demarcation. Well, are you looking at the thing?
Yep.
Do you know what number one is?
I see it. I don't know that I
Okay.
believe it. I guess I
Yeah.
haven't watched the right movies for this.
I guess so. According to IMDb, the most charismatic celebrity born after 1899 was Marlon Brando. Old heads out there, let us know. This is like, was The Godfather the most charismatic person to ever live? I've seen some interviews with him. He comes off very well. I wouldn't mark him as uncharismatic, but
like most charismatic celebrity of recent times, I don't know, dude.
Okay.
This is hard to argue. I mean, you got to include people like, you know, Stalin and Hitler, probably, right? In terms of like
born after
what they're
1899. When was Hitler born?
Good point, actually.
When was Mao Zedong born?
1889 was Hitler. So yeah, maybe he's a little too old. Because, you know, if you measure charisma as like what you're able to convince people to do, he was able to convince a lot of people to do, you know, a lot of stuff.
If you measure it by what you're able to convince people to do. So if this is just an all war crimes list, then you got Pol Pot.
Well, how else are you supposed to like measure charisma objectively, right? Otherwise, it's just like a list of like your favorite people, basically. I don't know. I feel like, you know, the list of most charismatic people says more about the person making the list.
It's a weird list. We've got Tom Cruise at number 5. He has a great screen presence. I don't know personally if he has the same sort of like charisma as some of the people on this list. Bob Dylan, I thought he was just like an asshole. Isn't Bob Dylan just like an asshole?
I don't know. I've never
Sorry,
met
Bob
him.
Dylan, if you're watching, but you have a reputation. Number 10, Michael Jordan. I believe that. He also has a bit of a reputation, doesn't he? Yeah, like Trump, Obama, not listed on here, at least as far as I saw. Let me just go.
JFK's down in like the 50s, dude.
Yeah, Trump not listed. Obama is on here.
Michael Jackson's number 8 below Bob Dylan, dude. I feel like Michael Jackson's way more charismatic than Bob Dylan.
But
the most,
I guess so.
Like the most famous person of the 20th century or whatever.
Certainly, like, does that come from his charisma or just his sort of like preternatural talent and his sort of mystical elven quality about him? You know, is that charismatic, or is he just like a very attractive sort of weirdo? I guess that's kind of charisma. I think it's funny that Che Guevara is on here at number 15, way above Obama for some reason.
And JFK.
Yeah, and below Oprah at number 12. This is an incredibly Western-centric list. Like, this is almost exclusively English names on here, or English language names on here.
Well, that's JT Woolink, IMDb user, just got burned right there by you, dude. You showed him.
Yeah. I know.
He's clearly an
I know.
authority on the subject, dude.
It's so funny just to see like these random actors and then figures of world history like Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela 70, Katharine Hepburn 71. Like, how are these remotely comparable?
Jensen Huang, 89, dude. CEO of
Ugh.
NVIDIA. Mr. Charisma.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he
Hey,
might be. I don't actually know, but
yeah, Tom
Mel
Hanks.
Gibson is 95, dude.
Yeah, no, this list is crazy.
All right, should we both pick
But
our number one?
this is
Who
what I
we
was
think
getting
should be
at.
number one
Like,
on the list?
it's tough talk. It's tough talk from us to kind of nitpick at like Katy Perry being listed above Nelson Mandela, but like, okay, let's do what IMDb absolutely should have done and keep our personal lists away from like the current politicians. Right? So here's our task. We are recruiting a Democratic candidate for president for the year 2032, after the third Trump term. Okay, so for 2028, we're just like on that Mamdani tip super hard, and we're just thinking, okay, just the most charismatic Americans who are not like current politicians. Who do we recruit? I'll throw out one. You can throw out one.
All right.
Okay. All right. My number one pick, just purely based on charisma and presence, I'm gonna go Jack Black. Jack Black for president.
Not a bad choice.
Like, lead of two of the highest grossing movies of all time, the Minecraft movie and the Super Mario movie.
Wow. Incredible, dude.
Mm-hmm. He's what do you call it? Like not a polyglot. He's like
Renaissance man?
Renaissance man, like triple threat, a dancer, a singer, and an actor. I think his largest scandal to date was he got mad at his friend for making a bad joke and broke up the band over it. I think we can work with that. I think given the scandals we could be contending with, I think that's pretty clean. Okay. That's first pitch. Number one on my list. All right, what's number one on your list?
I'm not going to go as unconventional as you. I'm going to pick Jon Stewart, I think.
All right. Yeah. But you're leaning a little bit like having that political acumen, because he's, hosted political comedy shows for a couple decades at this point. Like he has a lot of experience in the political realm, and we're just talking about charisma here. But
I think he's charismatic though, dude. Why, watch him debate Tucker Carlson and stuff. He's a talk show host. It's like being charismatic is his job, dude. That's how he gets paid.
That's true. It's true. I mean, you would think this sort of thing would happen more often, and I think it will happen more often as time goes on and our standards get eroded. That we'll have more of the commentariat join the political scene. You know what?
I mean, look how many Fox News hosts are in the Trump administration, dude.
Yeah, like I say that like that's a future thing, but that's a now thing. Like the Fox and Friends morning lineup is now like the cabinet of the government.
I mean, we've already mentioned a movie star once who achieved political power earlier in this podcast, dude. Zelensky.
Did I say Reagan?
No, Zelensky. He was a movie star, he was like a comedian, right? Like on movies and TV.
A comedian.
Before he was.
I don't know if it was movies or TV. I think it was TV. But yeah,
now he's a wartime president. He's the modern day Winston Churchill.
Speaking of Mamdani, his mom is a filmmaker of some renown, and probably the most famous person to be in one of her movies is also on my list of charisma top 5. I'm gonna pick Denzel Washington. Just Mr. Training Day himself. I think he's still got that juice, could still pull it off. I guess I would want to pick someone a little younger in general, but it's also like, I don't know, there's like an era of celebrity that is just like a little bigger than the modern younger, like,
when the media landscape was more consolidated.
I think that's mostly it.
Quick sidebar, do you think there will ever be a band as big as the Beatles ever again in human history? Like as like a percentage of the world who says they're, fans, or I don't know. I guess hard to define a measure.
No. I wonder if like certain modern bands are at that sort of penetration and we just don't know it. Like if Blackpink or BTS or some other K-pop group just because of their level of penetration in Asian markets is like a bigger proportion of like the global population than the Beatles were at the height of their popularity.
I thought this was going to
But
be
also,
we're too old to know, but it's a we're too white to know.
yeah,
Since we are older than the mayor-elect of New York City, after all. Ancient.
God,
I slept on my neck wrong the other day, and now my neck hurts, dude.
my back hurts because I laid down too long. Yeah, that's the sort of energy I'm bringing to the podcast today. What's your next pick?
I didn't actually have a good next pick. Charismatic.
It's sort of an odd metric. It's somewhat indefinable, but like, but you saw Mamdani. Like, if you got it, it's known. Like, it's out there. I keep calling it the juice. It's kind of like the more I say it, the kind of grosser it seems.
It does sound not great.
Yeah, and it's also it's a little bit more apparent in a political context because one, you're trying to get people to like you transparently, and it's like socially acceptable for you to be doing that sort of thing. And two, the people who really have that charisma are often drawn to politics. So the other type of career that these people are generally drawn to is entertainment, which is why I'm picking entertainers basically. But I saw someone else's list, someone who had put like Jensen Huang, Bill Gates, Elon Musk. They were just like a CEO fanboy. Like their most charismatic people were all business leaders. Is there any business leader that you know of that you would put above like your top 10 entertainers in charisma?
Charisma? Man, I don't really follow like business leaders. Maybe that guy who's always like trolling LinkedIn with like made up stuff.
What's that guy? He owns a Texas basketball team and he's on Shark Tank.
Cuban?
Mark Cuban. Yeah. I feel like he's a pretty charismatic business leader. But again, he's also an entertainer, so I guess that, I don't know if that really counts because he has a TV show. And like Oprah,
but he's only on the
business
TV show
leader.
for being a business leader. Like, sure, it's
Right.
for a charismatic business leader, but
Yeah, and there are a lot of business leaders that got their start in entertainment. Do you know that Jessica Alba owns Honest Brands? They're like a I don't know. I guess that has mind blown more parents I know than anyone else. They make like baby wipes and juice boxes and stuff. They're like a huge kids product brand.
Ryan Reynolds owns my cell phone company.
You're a Mint Mobile man.
I am.
All right.
Yeah, sorry. I feel like charisma that works on me doesn't work on normal people and vice versa to some extent.
Yeah, that's true. Some of these people can't run for office, but I'll read off my 5. I have Jack Black, Jackie Chan, Emma Stone, Denzel Washington, and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So you also went with movie stars, like the IMDb list.
I did. Yeah. I mean, like that was kind of where my head is. And I'm more of a movie person than a music person. Some people would list musicians, like Bob Dylan apparently, even though that one is baffling to me.
Plus, Arnold's a politician, dude. He was governor of California.
I know. I cheated with that one. I also just like put him on there because he's like the nice Republican. And also, he legally can't run for president, so I'm not actually worried about him becoming president and me getting my monkey's paw wish. So, listeners, who would be in your charisma top 5?
Your charisma
And also,
cabinet.
Yeah. Would that even be good? Would you even want these people? Like, it seems like it could backfire, but it does seem like not having the charisma is just really, really bad.
This is the age of TV, dude. If you're Richard Nixon and you're debating JFK on TV, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah. You know that movie Armageddon where they like teach a bunch of oil drillers to become astronauts so they can drill into the asteroid and blow it up? It's like that. We just need to get some like really charismatic people and then we can train them to be world-leading politicians and then they can save the world.
Sounds good, dude. Who's going to do the training in this scenario? I feel like that could be a contentious topic.
I don't know. Are you busy?
I'm free, actually. Yeah, we'll teach any politicians on this show.
Yeah. Don't worry about that part. The Info Hazard team's got that covered.
Okay. Right. No longer worried.
All right. So for the future trainers of the leader of the free world, good night.
Farewell. Bon voyage. Adieu.